I am so excited to share the MC Detective Agency Science Curriculum. So we have done file number 1 so far. There are 4 files in this curriculum. You do need to purchase a periodic table shower curtain separately, and you'll play games with that. And it does have this Ionic Ooze game for your chemistry knowledge. And it comes with 3 books. We have the activity packet, the actual files themselves, and then beginner lesson plans. Now, what I found is that the beginner lesson plans and the activity packet, they both have lists of activities that you can do in kind of an order. And I would say that they don't jive perfectly, so you have to look at both of them to see where you're going to be going with things. But it has been so interesting, and it has made the periodic table come alive. So I'm very excited to share this with you. Definitely will be doing another file in this with the kids. Right now my kids are 7, 9, and 10, and all of them were able to pay attention, especially the 9 and 10-year-old. It was more, for them. But the 7-year-old listened in with us, and this first lesson was on the dial painters and the Radium Girls. And so very interesting that they are connecting history to the periodic table and science. And so, yeah. So let's take a look inside. I'm going to give you a flip through of these books and let you know a little bit more of how the program works. Time for a real page turner. So the MC Detective Agencies, files 1 through 4. I'm going to give you an idea of how these 3 books work together. So like I said before, these 2 books here, the lesson plans and the activity packet, really seem similar in that they both outline the activities that you're going to do and the pages that the kids are going to use. I would say that this beginner lessons plan book is a little more step-by-step broken down. So this tends to be the one that I'm following more, but I am checking back and forth between the 2 of them because they are a little bit different. But I would say if you follow this one, you shouldn't miss anything. Everything should be in it. They just maybe have things in a different order. They might do one page first here, but then here they do it later. So I think it's fine as long as you're staying in that file altogether, that first story. So file 1, lesson 1, and you'll see that they've broken down the activities by time, and there's 4 activities for the first lesson. So we just would do a couple. We saw how far we got. It depended on my kids' attention spans and just the amount of time that we had for the day. So for example, this first activity that they're going to do is they're going to look for the 11 elements whose name does not match the symbol. And there was a preparatory one. See, and maybe I got it in this other one. And that's why you got to do them both together. Let's see. So what I did was I actually started with the activity packet first. And here it was saying first to get comfortable with the periodic table. Spread out the shower curtain. See what you're looking at. Find examples of things, explain the difference between the symbol, the atomic number, and our shower curtain has that listed at the top of it. So it's easy to explain what these different things mean. So they just get an idea of that the periodic table exists and a little bit about it. And then I went into the beginner lesson plans here. So I made a copy of this periodic table for each of my kids. And then here they used a highlighter to look for certain things. So like here, the first thing they were looking for is 11 elements whose name does not match its symbol. So for example, how potassium has a K for its symbol. And it shows here, this is your answer key right here. So it shows how they would have the certain ones highlighted. So we did this kind of as a group thing because my kids are younger. Here they're looking for some of the ones that look like they're named after cities, states, or countries. Here they're looking for ones that look like they're named after people. Here they've got some Mythbuster things too at the bottom where they're explaining things that people might not understand, which is really cool, just like commonly misunderstood elements. So that was it for lesson 1. And I found this easy to follow through this. I don't always like things that have separate teachers' books, but with this one, it was fine. We were able to just read right along. There were a couple things that I skipped. I felt like they were a little bit too advanced for my kids and would just go over their head. And I'd rather that we do a little bit less and really understand it than to push them along with too much information. So it's all really set up similarly. And you can easily at the top see the file number and the lesson number. And it gives you lots of information. So here you can see where it will tell you when it's time to start the ooze game and what they're going to be looking for. So that's helpful as well. Okay, so as you're going through the beginner lesson plans and the teacher's guide, you are going to be kind of going back and forth, because in here, like, it has the raised rules, and in here it will tell you when to go to those page numbers. So for example here, file 1 lesson 4, it would tell you to read certain pages in the file book. That's this, where the files are. And then it will tell you certain pages to go to in the activity book. And you can see that the activities are laid out really simply. They're fun puzzles and interesting activities. They also have questions. As you're reading through the actual case file in this book, they'll have these discussion questions that you can go over to make sure that they're understanding what they're reading. And as it goes through this story in particular, they'll be meeting Marie Curie and also Thomas Edison. So I like that too, where it helps you understand more about the story that you're learning. And it's based on history, which I love. Anything like that. Anything that combines subjects is great. Here, this was doing a periodic table game like Twister, where they're spinning it and then finding the different elements on there. They even had a recipe that you could make to go along with it too. And so that was pretty much it for the activity side of it. Then here in the case file, you can see how it's set up. It is a graphic novel. It is not very long. And it does pause here for a little bit of information. They call them Ray's Rules and Poppy's Puzzles. And even that goes off of Ray is for radium, Poppy is for polonium, the two things that Marie Curie, well, two of the elements that Marie Curie had discovered. So it's interesting that they've got this information again in the middle. So it kind of reiterates things that they've already learned. See, here's that Poppy's puzzle again, which we did in the lesson plan, and it was in the activity pack before we even started reading the graphic novel. So there's a lot of kind of introductory stuff that you do first to get an idea about the story before you actually get into the story. And I don't know if that'll be different with file number 2, because now they already have the basics down about the periodic table. But we will see. We're definitely going to continue on with this. This was a lot of fun, and my boys learned from it and enjoyed it. And let me show you inside the Ionic Ooze game as well. So this has cards. We have not played it yet. We have not been prompted to play it yet because we've only done the first file. But there are green and blue cards. You're going to shuffle those separately and put them down. And then the children are going to pick them up and try to make compounds from the cards that they've picked up. There's also a bingo game that you can get from them. And we have not played this either, but it also looks like a fun and simple game. Just as a side recommendation, this kid's book of the elements by Theodore Gray is excellent. I love how it has a simple black background, and then it goes through all the elements, tells you a little bit about them. So even as we're reading through these stories, we're also looking things up in here, which has been very helpful. So I definitely recommend getting this book as well. Look at that right there, Radium, right on the dial. Another good read aloud book to go along with this is The Radium Girls by Kate Moore. This would be best for older readers, as it has a lot of details in it. It covers the dial painters from the early 1900s who were painting the clock dials with luminous paint to help out with the war effort, so the fighters could be able to read their clocks in the dark. But because of the radium that they were using and the method they were using to paint them, they were being exposed to radium, and it was going into their bodies, which caused a lot of harm. So this follows their decline physically. It also follows their court cases against the companies and how this changed the laws to protect workers. It does include a few gruesome details. I would say not overly so. I don't think they're trying to be gruesome in it, but they are trying to paint an honest picture of how sad it was for these women and what they were experiencing. So, a little precaution there. And some of the images are harder than others to see because some do depict the troubles that they were going through. But very well written book, and very important, the story in it. In the end, it has a timeline of events, which is interesting to see. And even the epilogue at the back is saying how in the 1970s, one of the places still wasn't shut down. And then 2019, they're still cleaning up after it. So, you know, there's definitely a lesson in this for us as we move forward. But very important book, well written. Again, check it for content based on the age of your student. But this was definitely a good book. I hope this was a helpful look inside. Reminder that real life is messy and beautiful, and better with books. Common, we'll show that later. So there's a little bit of flipping back and forth with it, but it's okay. And it gives you more information. Oh my gosh. Cut out the cards, and yeah, I don't even need to say that. It's the story of the ladies who were painting dials, and the dials with radium, which was making them glow. And it caused tumors and their bones to be breaking. Boy, I'm not explaining that very good. Who knew that the periodic table could be fun and appropriate for little children?